You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
From the Sports Closet studio, check them out online, sportscloset.ca. From jerseys to hats to the legendary foam finger, you'll find it all and more at the Sports Closet. The legendary foam finger. That is right, Jay. Today's show is brought to you by Pepsi. As the puck drops for the playoffs, Pepsi is making a bold statement. It's changing its iconic cola color to orange. Pepsi is igniting hockey spirit among Edmonton fans as the city turns orange with this exclusive limited edition cola. 2025 bottles will be given out to fans throughout the Edmonton playoffs. To celebrate the launch, Pepsi is teaming up once again with NHL Hall of Famer and former Oilers goaltender Grant Fuhr. If you're in Edmonton, visit at Pepsi Canada on Instagram to find out where you can get one of those bad boys, the limited edition Oilers Pepsi, and enjoy the 2025 NHL playoffs. Wouldn't mind having one of those tonight as puck drops on game 2 of this series between the Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings. It's a fantastic playoff Sherwood Ford Giant game day. That's why Jay's here. That's why Liam's here, proudly rocking his English. I didn't clue in on that till right now.
Big day today. St. George's Day.
I'm happy for you.
And Tyler chose to wear green. Unbelievable.
Yeah, hand up. That's on me. I'll wear that.
Everyone knows you wear white or red on St. George's Day.
Disrespect.
I can't believe this.
I did put Happy St. George's Day on the
You know,
whiteboard.
I came with a hoodie on today, and I changed to a white shirt to support
I
our
thought
Englishman.
now to turn tables, I was promised a red beer.
That is true, but the day's not over.
We'll have to go downstairs later.
Get a
They have
little.
red beer down there.
Yeah, they have an Irish red.
They do, actually.
Not going to drink that one, are you, Liam?
No.
Oh, it's very conflicting.
I'll have a Budweiser
With red
with
dye.
red dye.
Maybe one of those.
I call it an Edmonton.
Yeah, fair
There you
enough.
go.
I can take one of those today.
All right, Edmonton looking to even up the series tonight, boys. Jay, you sat down. You're a very busy guy. You obviously have not seen the lineup. So before we get into any of it, Pat, don't put it up. I know you're just your fingers over the button. Evander Kane is in. So
Obviously.
what do you think the lineup is tonight?
First of all, NHL is
Bad.
annoying sometimes,
Okay.
right? So Kane, the narrative is that got held out of game 1
Because
of the circumvention.
Mm-hmm.
But Kachuk gets to play game 1. But you know what? He played 4 nations, so that's probably gives him a free pass.
Didn't Sagan play too? Tyler Sagan's been
Anyways.
playing.
Yeah.
He was out.
Whatever. That's just annoying. Okay, what was your question? Where does Kane slot in?
Well, first off, people in the chat are saying that my mic was muted for the lead. The lead was all I want for St. George's Day is an Oilers win. So you didn't really miss a lot. I'll be honest, hand
Whoa.
up, not my best work.
Disrespect. Whoa.
Again.
Jeez.
When will this
The
end?
backhanded, there's a deep
is it
subconscious
nothing
here.
holiday?
No, I just
Everyone
felt like I
knows
wasn't very creative with it.
I
But
love
then
it. It's
you
my
can't-
favorite
any
lead of
chan-
the
Any
year.
chance you can
Okay,
slate
I'm not-
it, you got your St. George's knives out and you're just knifing everywhere you can.
I'm not letting you run with this kind of
That's
narrative. Today's a
so
playoff
St.
game
Patrick.
day.
But
of you.
it's blatantly obvious.
It is.
Don't
it is.
sully the day.
It's one day
Whatever,
of the
you
year
guys.
I need. This is it.
What do you think the lineup is tonight, Jay? If you had to guess.
This is where I'm so bad. So what are the changes that happen because
Kane is in. Klingberg's also in. Brown out.
Yeah, obviously.
Klingberg
Okay.
is in.
Where does Kane slot in? I feel like they're going to put him in the top 6.
Okay. And then who do you think comes out of the forward lineup?
Kapanen?
He
No,
didn't play game
He
1.
was already out. Okay, sorry. It's probably this is team you have to say Janmark, isn't it?
Okay, well, Jay, Mr. Oodle Noodle, took a stab at it. So now let's get to our lineup report, which is brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Download the app today, sign up for the loyalty program, and you're going to get 1,500 loyalty points just for doing that. That's a $15 value.
Doesn't sound like I got this right. Carry on.
I actually don't know who's out of the lineup.
Jeff Skinner's going to come out of the lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. So Skinner is out. The top line, McDavid with Draisaitl and Corey Perry gets moved onto the top line.
Okay.
Evander Kane with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman on line 2. Henrique with Frederick and Brown is your third line. Janmark with Podkolzin and Arvidsson is your fourth line. So I would honestly say that fourth line might actually be your third line, and that third line might actually be your fourth line if you when we look back at the minutes at the end of tonight. I'm intrigued at the idea and intrigued, I guess, how much Perry will actually play on that top line. Like, is he getting every single shift with Connor and Leon, or is he moving around and is maybe like Arvidsson getting a few shifts up there, and is maybe Connor Brown getting a few shifts up there?
I think that's a rotating seat. I don't think Corey Perry has enough gas in the tank to play 23 minutes.
Offensive zone draws.
O-zone draws Perry. I actually think it'll be O-zone draws Perry, D-zone draws Arvidsson. Because I think they'll like the speed that Arvidsson can bring that line on the rush. So when you're kind of trying to, getting out of your zone, little counterattack, you throw Arvidsson in there instead. Skinner's out tonight. Blue line is Nurse with Bush, Wallman with Klingberg, Kulak with Emberson. I fully expect that to change a whole bunch over the course of the game. I don't think they're just going to run with these pairings. I don't think you can trust a Wallman-Klingberg pairing all that much. I almost would have done Wallman-Bouchard, Nurse, and Klingberg, but in general, I actually don't have much of a problem with these lines. I think up front, you're lined up pretty well. A little bit nervous about going full-on nuclear, but what we saw last game is going...
They'll move around.
They can move around, and also... when McDavid's in a zone like this, maybe you don't even need another line that can score. Maybe just Connor
McDavid asked for it.
Yeah, and maybe McDavid was like
that third period was like electricity personified, like in real life, right before your eyes.
One thing we're gonna see, Draisaitl's definitely gonna send on that Podkolzin and Arvidsson line quite a few shifts tonight.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think that's gonna happen quite a few times. Is just I don't know how exactly they'll rotate it through, but that line was actually not bad on Monday. I thought in the overall circumstance, I thought they were able to create a few chances in the first period, maybe faded away a little bit in the second. What I'd say, obviously started moving Draisaitl away, but I think that's a line you need to get going as well. A lot of people aren't happy with these lines. I think you need to remember how dominant McDavid was in that third period with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Like the Kings literally could not handle him. And it didn't really matter who else was on the ice with the other shifts.
We're going to need to deploy it. It is almost a certainty that the lines are going to move around in game.
Totally.
You're just starting this way because I think we have to. LA plays a structured game. Mm-hmm. And they're a better team than they were the year before. And the only way to kind of break through their armor that was proven last game was the two of them together. Yeah. Getting after it.
Especially too, like you don't have last change, so I actually think forcing them to put out certain guys on the ice is pretty important for the Oilers as well.
Yep. So last game, McDavid and Draisaitl, when they were on the ice together, 6.5 minutes at 5-on-5. They scored twice. Shot attempts were 12-4. Actual shots were 7-3. When you add Corey Perry into that mix, that trio had 2 minutes and 24 seconds together. They got both those goals with Corey Perry on the ice. So McDavid and Draisaitl alone didn't score. They only scored when Corey Perry was in the mix. So that
what a pass to Perry.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Also,
what a pass.
Talked about the officiating a lot yesterday, and I did say this. Very lucky Corey Perry didn't get a cross-checking penalty right before that.
I went and watched it again after we spoke about it on O&R. It really does look like, I think it was Gavrikov, wasn't it?
It's Edmondson.
Edmondson, is down for the block. Like,
it
I know
looks like he was going down already,
but simultaneous maybe.
And just to wrap up on the McDavid, Perry, Draisaitl conversation, last game, out of the shifts, the three of them started together, 100% O-zone starts. Not a neutral zone start, not a D-zone start. So, again, if you flash up those lines, I do think there are some people who are maybe overreacting to the Oilers are going nuclear already. The Oilers are going nuclear already. No. I think you can pretty easily see, much like we talked about yesterday with Zach, and you just hinted at again, you're going to see Draisaitl down with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. I actually think you're going to see McDavid with Kane and Hyman for a few shifts in this one. I think this is a glorified 11 forwards look, and it's just going to be a mishmash of throwing curveballs and fastballs at the LA Kings tonight, and I don't hate that considering everything that we saw in game one. So there's your lineup for the Oil tonight.
Another thing for me is too, and this became more apparent after Draisaitl was visibly upset on the bench, they got way more physical.
Yep.
Like they were hitting a lot more, and I think having Kane back is going to do that. Frederick only played 2 shifts in the third period, and Knobloch said that wasn't due to his injury, that was due to his play. So he needs to step up on the physicality side of things tonight, too. And that's another reason why I would have kept Podkolzin in the lineup like they did. You need that physicality. If things turn, Jeff Skinner isn't bringing that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, Frederick's he's still not up to speed.
No.
And, there's going to be concerns about Kane's first game too, but just don't take penalties, but hit everything in sight, please, sir.
Well, yeah, so, you just kind of partially answered that, but I wanted that to be our giant question today since it is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. Sherwood Ford, home of Nation Valet. Never visit the dealership again for your routine car maintenance. Also at Sherwood Ford, you can get $500 towards a service plan just by being a Nation citizen and purchasing a vehicle with them. Nation citizens, your hockey destination, your Ford destination is Sherwood Ford, the Giant. I was just going to say, what are your expectations tonight for Kane? Because what we saw from a guy like Trent Frederick last game where I was like, okay, he really struggled getting back up to speed. And I know some people were saying, and this was a bit of a thing, like, just pull him right out of the lineup. Pull him out of the lineup. He's not ready. No, it's shitty that he's just coming back for game one of the playoffs, but there is a player there, and you need to get him up to speed. Yep. He has to get his game reps and get comfortable in the system and all of that stuff. But what are your expectations tonight for Kane? Do you think that this is... I think it's a bit of a different scenario than Frederick, because I don't think Frederick's going to be at 100% at all in these playoffs. I think Kane is 100% and ready to go. He's 100%. The one thing, that... It's still gonna take a few games. He's not gonna have his legs. He's just not gonna have his legs. I know, McDavid pushed the pace of practice, and they try to practice as close to game speed as they can. It's still not the same because there's emotions and then all the physicality he's gonna have to throw at it. Yeah. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt going into this game. Like if he's not the Evander Kane that we saw, in round one last year, just give him a game. Mm-hmm. But I think. The tenacity and the truculence of his game will be present tonight. I had this debate, it would have been a week ago today with Gregor when we were talking about where do you play Evander Kane when he comes into the lineup. And I kind of said I would ease him into it. I'd put him on the fourth line. I'd give him maybe a couple of shifts up in the lineup. But for the most part, I was like, ease him into it, see what you have. And Gregor's kind of counterpoint to that, and I guess this is maybe what Chris Knobloch's seeing as well, is he might just be so full of adrenaline, and the issue actually might not be tonight or the first period tonight or anything like that. Gregor's point was the adrenaline might fuel him. The issues actually might come later in the series, like a conditioning problem more with Evander Kane, because he isn't in, call it full game shape or whatever word you want to put in there. So I actually think tonight, I wouldn't have been surprised if and I still wouldn't be surprised if they even maybe give him a few shifts with 97 and 29 and just try to all right, go. You're full of it. You got the adrenaline going. You haven't played a hockey game in 10 months. See if we can catch lightning in a bottle in game one here.
Well, he's going to shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Which Oilers didn't do enough of until the third period, so it's probably a good thing.
Oh, man, it's just... And I know you guys probably talked about this. Well, obviously you had no choice, but man, that game...
Are you surprised at all about the goaltending decision going right back to Stuart Skinner? I actually...
it's... You can be really hard... it's... The whole Stu narrative, is a thing. And I'm a subscriber to it to some degree. You can't really hang... you can say some of these goals are his fault, but, there was the blunders that were happening in front of him.
He had no chance on that game winner. The more you go back and watch
it was a muff. It sucks. And, Fogel, did a good job screening Skinner, jumping up like he did. If that actually went to plan, he saves that. It's because it was a muff. And that's tough to defend against. But, it was the play at the blue line that led to that as an opportunity that, it's what the hell? There were so many of those types of things where we just gave them that opportunity. We gave him that opportunity, and that has to stop. That just has to stop. And it's not like asking our defense to be better defensively, stronger checkers or, tighter gaps or, tougher for, players to get around or whatnot. It's just making better decisions when they have the puck or, if there's in that instance, a puck exiting the zone where you could easily just put your body in front of and got it as opposed to trying to do a little weird stick maneuver, right? Super low percentage. This is playoffs. So you can't do any of the low percentage shit. You can't. It ends up in the back of your net, and we proved it.
Yeah, Gregor said on his show yesterday, so the Oilers had 14 high-danger chances against, which was the most they had last season was 11 in the playoffs, which is against Dallas in Game 6 when Skinner stole the game, ironically.
Yep.
They got to limit it. Less chaos is my key to victory today.
Yeah, totally.
So off the glass and out, if you don't have an option, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which is crazy because last season they were just doing that.
I know.
They
I
became
don't.
so comfortable just chipping it out into the neutral zone, line change, regroup, do it again. Yeah, it'll be. I think they'll get back to that. I think there's just a bit of jitters.
I'm hoping that they're going to watch the tape and they're going to see what they did and don't do it again. Or limit the opportunities that you do. I understand it's high stakes, high intensity, fast pace, and mistakes happen. It's a game of mistakes. But you see some of these ones, you're like, why would you make that decision? It's in the playoffs of all things. Like, why would you make that decision?
Mm-hmm. Totally. So this is actually going to tie into my my Service Credit Union big take for today's show. Also, bad broadcaster for me. Didn't set up the show off the start. 90-minute show today, Sherwood Ford Giant game day. 12:30, our pal Devan Dubnyk's going to swing by. 1 o'clock, Bruce Curlock. So we're going to get a couple of really interesting opinions on this game here tonight. But I'm seeing this a lot in the chat. I'm already seeing it a lot on Twitter. We really didn't talk about it because we're focused more on what Evander Kane's going to add to the lineup. But Jeff Skinner coming out. It's my one big take. It's brought to you by Service Credit Union. The Service Big Share Contest is back. It's on right now, but it's only on until April 30th. You only have one more week to get in. It is your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. Anyone can enter by becoming a member and saving with Service. Every $500 saved gets you 5 entries into the Service Big Share Contest. Skill test required. For rules, visit service.ca/win. I'm fine with Jeff Skinner coming out. And I'm someone who beat the drum hard for 82 games saying they're mistreating this guy. They aren't putting him in positions to succeed. But I sit and look at last game. Through 40 minutes in game 1, the LA Kings had 3 goals at 5-on-5. One was on the power play. The other 3 were at 5-on-5. Jeff Skinner was on the ice for every single one of those goals. And if you go back through them, the Byfield goal, what did we talk about right off the jump? Miscommunication between him and Frederick. They were totally lost and on the wrong sides of the ice. Second goal, Adrian Kempe. That was the one where Kempe could just walk out in front. Before the sort of miscommunication, Jeff Skinner barrels in to make a play on, I think it was Kuzmenko, and missed him. And then the play got made. The puck was in the back of the net. So I love Jeff Skinner, and I wrote my bold predictions. We did this on the show Monday. I said he's going to be a factor. He can be this year's Pisani because he has the ability to change the game with one shot. Unfortunately, in game 1, I think we just saw a little bit too much of how Jeff Skinner can negatively impact the game. And when he ends the game with 1 shot on net, I know he had his assist. That was fine. I liked that shift, but there were just way too many bad shifts for me. I see Brian, don't punish after first playoff in a very long career. I'm putting the team first here. And let's look, Pat, if you can flash up the forward lineup one more time for me. You cannot take up Matthias Janmark. He scored a goal and actually looked really good in that game.
Playoff Janmark.
Playoff Janmark was back.
On his name.
And it's surprising for me because I'm kind of one of those people who's like, players can't just flip the switch come playoff time, but Janmark's proven me wrong. The only other guy you could maybe make an argument for, I think, is Vasily Podkolzin. I didn't agree fully with Zach yesterday saying Henrique, although I think his line of thinking was fine. I'm just not pulling out Adam Henrique and a penalty-killing centerman. I'm not pulling out Vasily Podkolzin, who plays a relatively physical brand of hockey and also kills penalties for you. I hate that I'm on this side, and if you would have told me 2 weeks ago that I'd be delivering this opinion, I would have been like, there's no way. Pulling out Jeff Skinner is the right call. I know people aren't going to like it. I hope he gets back in at some point and again plays his best hockey. And Mikhail and Dry, Frederick could have gone out. No, because you need to get Frederick up to speed. Like, for you to go win, and I mean, we talked about this the other day, this isn't just about winning 4 games for the Oilers. This spring is about a long playoff run where you need to win all 16. If you're going to win all 16, you need Trent Frederick at some point. So it sucks. Jeff Skinner's the odd man out. He'll get back in at some point. If Connor Brown has a bad game, I put Jeff Skinner in for Connor Brown. If we get later in this series and the Oilers' scoring maybe goes away, then I put him in for Vasily Podkolzin. But for right now, you don't need goals. You need guys who aren't going to F up in the D zone. So Skinner's got to come out. I hate to be that guy, but that's my take.
You're right. It's right. We just have to tighten up, and we can't do anything on the D. Right?
Yeah,
because we only have so much to work with, and we're begging for Stetcher to come back. This is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Good. Well, shout out to Stetcher, right?
Yeah,
for
credit to him.
He's a gamer, and we need that type of player. I can't wait, and I hope he can come back sooner rather than later. But we have that option. You go -3. -3 and a
-2 because he was on the ice for one.
But still, 3 goals against.
Yeah,
3
3 goals
negative.
That's what I'm focusing on.
And you could point to him being a contributing factor to that goal against. We can't take these risks.
Yeah.
Like we already have risks in the lineup, and so we have to insulate and mitigate as best we can.
The Klingberg, him coming into the lineup is very interesting because he doesn't really kill penalties. He's not physical. If he plays the same amount of minutes as what Brown did, it's probably just going to be, I would say, probably worse.
I would say he's smarter.
Klingberg?
With the puck.
I think they're doing this because they know playing 5 defensemen is unsustainable. I think you can, like it.
But that's not true.
It's a long playoff run, Liam.
But no, because Stetcher will come back, and then you get him.
Yeah.
Let's not, there's this whole narrative. People were out there was saying how, like, the Oilers' blue line's so bad. And it's like, well, Josh Brown's a 9th defenseman. They've got injuries. Obviously, Klingberg coming in, but it's just like, LA played Jordan Spence for 6 minutes. And New Zealand, Brent Clark, I think he played 11 minutes. It's like, well, that's exactly the same as what the Oilers did. Like, there just seems to be this narrative that, like, the Oilers can't win because they only have 4 defensemen and their goaltending isn't good enough. Well, LA played with also pretty much 4 defensemen and their goalie had the same save percentage. They just scored 1 more goal. The biggest difference is the special teams. If the Oilers can nail the special teams tonight, they'll win the game.
Well,
they got to figure that out.
But then maybe would you sit there and go, Josh Brown kind of messed up on that first penalty kill goal, so can you even trust him on the PK, or do you lean more towards how good he played on the 5-on-3?
I would give him the benefit of the doubt of, like, it's a power play, it's the first one of the game, the hype around it. I don't think it was, like, his fault. There's 2 guys right there.
Did we really play good on that 5-on-3? That was the slap shot regatta.
I think blocking them and saves.
You only had to face 3 shots.
Sure, but like we just stood there and just took it.
That's kind of
how you have to do that.
Right? And the only, and to be fair, I was talking more about Josh Brown, who I think blocked 2, and then got the only time they cleared the puck was Josh Brown.
Okay, fair, but
he finished with 3 blocks in the game.
Yeah,
and he played 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Was +1.
How?
Come on.
He was +1 in that game?
He must have fallen on the ice off the bench.
He must have been. Well, then the only goal he could have been on the ice for would have been that Skinner. Maybe he was on for the Janmark goal.
Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be the only one, though.
That's
also, just out of curiosity, in 10 games this season, John Klingberg only spent 158 on the ice killing penalties. So,
see, that's going to be. He's going to have to kill a penalty tonight, no? I guess Emberson and Kulak will be trusted, and then Nurse and Wallman.
Yeah.
That's the way they'll do it.
Yeah, and they did lean on Jake Wallman pretty hard on the penalty kill. He played 34 minutes, was on the ice for 4 goals against. So 34, that's 17 penalty kills, 4 for 17. How's that work as a percentage?
Just over 25%, 26.
Okay, 27. So he was, the results were okay, I guess you could say. Yeah, so Klingberg in, Evander Kane in. And that's the Oilers lineup for tonight. Skinner and Josh Brown out. I get what you're saying, Liam. I see a hair. I see more upside with Klingberg.
Yes,
the puck
100%.
moving is important.
Yeah, just the IQ. Like
he's
got one hip. He's not the same player that he used to be. But when he was on Dallas, he was a factor.
Yeah,
he was.
I'm not saying we're getting Dallas Klingberg, but it takes body and mind.
I don't know. I question his mind a little bit too. But whatever. We're talking about the 8th, 9th defenseman.
Yeah.
And we're clamoring for our 7th guy to get back.
I never thought I was capable of missing Troy Stetcher this much, but damn it, I want Tony back in the lineup. Okay, let's get to our guest line for today. Our first of 2 guests is Devan Dubnyk. Star Mechanical Guest Line is Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca, whether it's residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all. They do it well at Star Mechanical. Not only is Devan Dubnyk a former NHL goaltender, a former Oiler, but he is also the host of Ask Dubnyk, which debuts later on today. Devan Dubnyk in his influencer era. Devan, welcome to the show.
Don't say that, please.
I wanted to get it in once. But Ask Dubnyk is going to premiere today, 2 o'clock Mountain Time on the Oilers Nation YouTube. If people have questions for next week's episode, drop them in the chat here. I'll fire them off to Devan. But let's start with something that you talked about a lot over on our post-game show the other day, then actually again in the first episode of Ask Dubnyk, Stuart Skinner. We don't need to go fully in through every goal like you've been doing, but give me a general grade on Stuart Skinner in Game 1, because there's some people who I think are going right to the F-, and I think that's a little unfair.
That is definitely unfair. Again, you can go nitpicking and pick apart little things here and there. The thing I really liked from it is the third period, and to me, it's not even just goals against. When you watch a goalie, I was just thinking about this. Other big guys, Freddie Anderson, Anthony Stolars, they look calm and collected. And the thing I didn't love about Skinner's game at the start of that game, the first and second period, is you didn't get that confidence feeling. So goals aside, you can argue one way or the other. I don't think he had a ton of chance on many of the goals. Like I said, I didn't love the second one that much, although it was a pretty good play by Byfield to grab it out of the air. But goals aside, there wasn't that it's hard to describe. Just watching him move around, didn't feel confident in the way he was moving. He looked a little bit nervous. But then it changed in the third period. And as the third period went on, I thought his confidence built. He looked solid when the shots were coming. You weren't tensing up thinking that they might go in. He made a couple just good, solid saves with no rebound on shots down the wing. Great penalty kill. And then he made 4 or 5 saves when it was 5-3, including that penalty kill that it allows him to come back and tie it 5-5. And I started to feel like he looked confident. And whether goals go in or not, that's just an important thing. It's important for fans watching to feel better. It's more important for the guys on the bench to just watch a goalie in there and feel confident that he's going to make the save. And I didn't feel like that as much in the first half of the game or the first 2 periods as I did in the third period. I started feeling like here's a goalie who's not going to get scored on unless, something fluky happens like the 6th goal. But if he needs to start the game that way and give the guys that confidence just in his movement and how he works around his net, goals against or not.
What did you make of Darcy Kemper? It seemed like the Oilers seemed to crack him a little bit in the third period there by just kind of getting really close to the net on him, and he wasn't able to get a few of them, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that was one. Obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about Skinner, and Kemps is an interesting one because he's an extremely good goalie, and he can get really hot. The thing I'd like to see the Oilers do is get in his kitchen a little bit because he's an emotional guy. I've played with him. I've seen it. You can rattle him a little bit, and you don't have to do much. You don't have to crash into him. Just get in there, a little poke here and there, a little nudge. It's playoff hockey. Get in his kitchen a little bit. Get him fired up because it's easy to stay composed with that stuff going on when you're stopping everything and everything's good. But when you give up, you've given up 5 on 25 now, and if they get 1 or 2 in the first half of the game, that stuff starts to bother you. It starts to get annoying. You're already annoyed with maybe not feeling super comfortable. Now a little poke here, a little nudge there, a little snow in the face, just even standing in his space starts to get annoying. And Kemps is an emotional guy, and there's an opportunity there to throw him off his game a little bit, especially with maybe planting a little seed of doubt in his head with the third period of last game.
Mikhail and Dry asked one, and he said, do you feel like we saw Darcy Kemper's kryptonite with close to the net shots? How do we balance taking shots and putting lots of pucks on net versus rushing the net and getting those in-tight opportunities? I mean, Perry would have been in tight. Janmark's goal was. McDavid's was as well. So was Hyman's. Like, they all came from sort of that tight, in-close area on Kemper. Is that something where, like, that is actually a weakness in Kemper's game, or is that just like a captain obvious, like, if you get chances close to the net, they have a better opportunity of going in?
A little bit of both. Yes, it's obviously great if you can pass the puck cross crease in one time in the back of the net. However, easier said than done. But there is part of that, like everybody we've talked about, the reverse VH and how it's overused. And I don't think that there's many guys that move extremely well out of it, move powerfully out of it. And you could see in that reverse VH, the pushes are there, but they're not powerful. Like he's not quite getting there, or he's open and exposed. McDavid's last goal, he's in that RVH early, which I don't like. And I mean, McDavid made an incredible shot, but you got McDavid on like a partial breakaway here. Get off your post. Like give yourself a chance, because Connor can go just about anywhere there, and he just slipped in the perfect spot. But and then on top of that, the way you generate is and this is what I didn't like about the Oilers in the first, is if you're trying all this stuff, cross crease, cross ice passes, that's all great. But if that's the only thing you're doing, it becomes easier to defend because they don't have to respect the shot. So with the creativity and the skill level in today's game, you can't just go shoot pucks. You can't throw pucks in the wall that the goalies are going to hang on to and catch. It's essentially a turnover. You got possession of the puck, and now you're in a 50-50 face-off. But when there are opportunities to shoot, if you're skating downhill, if you got speed, it's important to rip some of those on net. Keep the defenseman honest. Keep the goalie honest on these shots, because now if you do get in a situation where there's a chance to shoot or pass, the guy's going to have to make a decision. And if he goes off to the pass, then you got an open shot. But if you're never shooting, they don't have to respect that. So I think generating the shot creates those opportunities to make those chances. If you're just trying all the time to make passing plays east to west, down low, then it's easier to defend.
Mm-hmm. There seems to be a question, obviously. Whenever a goalie allows 6 goals, people wonder if there should be a goalie change. We all agreed that obviously a bad idea. But what would the leash be for you on Skinner if tonight is bad? Would you go to Pickett in game 3, or do you allow the game to kind of dictate yourself and then make the decision?
Yeah, I think it completely depends on how the game goes, because you can, if he gives up 4 or 5, there's just games where that's the way it is. Now, obviously, with giving up 6 in the first game, everyone's going to be like, whoa, no. But you have, again, this is kind of comes back to my first point about watching how his demeanor is, how he's moving around his crease. Is he confident, or is he scrambling even on the saves that he's making? So if you have a game, if he does give up 4 this game, but you go back to the goals, you have to revisit the goals. If 4 pucks go off a shin pad that are going 3 feet wide and end up in the net, you're not going to change goalies. If maybe the goals aren't bad necessarily, maybe he could have had one of them, but you don't like the way he's moving around his net. He doesn't look confident. He's shaky. Well, then maybe a question comes in. Do you go to Pickard for game 4? I just don't think, and again, I love Calvin Pickard. I know he's a great teammate. I know everybody loves him. I don't think you can be quick on a trigger to throw Pickard in the net in this situation. He's done his job all year. He's been incredible, but you got to get Skinner going. If they're going to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to need him.
Well, I think, and as you pointed out, Skinner kind of showed his kind of calm demeanor in the third period there that kind of carried us through last year. So that's a healthy sign. So you just hope that translates into game 2 here tonight.
Yeah, and that's also something Skinner spoke about towards the end of the season when he was returning to the lineup. He was asked in one of his scrums, like, what did you learn from last year's playoff run? Why do you feel more prepared? And he kind of just said, like, short memory has to be my whole thing. He's like, last year he felt like he let one bad goal compound into a few others. And I think maybe, Devan, we did see in the third period that he learned that lesson, like the sign of a maturing goalie, that he was like, hey, I don't give a shit. I gave up 5. I'm going to do everything I can to not give up the 6th. He did, but again, not through any fault of his own. I want to park the goalie conversation for a second and ask you a little bit about the forward group. They are loading up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl tonight and going nuclear from the jump. Is that the right move in your mind?
I love it. We talked about that post game. It was something I was thinking about throughout the game. Is they got to go top heavy here. I didn't like. I understand the thought process. I didn't like the spread out lineup because Connor and Leon, every time they're on the ice, they're doing great things. But it just, I don't know. It didn't feel like there was any sustainability on offensive attack. It was just, it was almost like watering it down. And in playoffs, there's nothing wrong with top heavy, third line, fourth line, role lines. Like you fit into your role. And, I like Perry up there. I think you can, move Perry or Hyman depending on what you want. I mean, obviously I love a Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman line, but I like these top 2 lines the way they are. I think Evander Kane didn't get along with him great when I played, so I don't love talking good about him. However, I think he's a great addition here. Great player, obviously skill-wise can score, and he brings a little bit of grit. He brings a little bit of agitation. He gets under guys' skin, so he's got kind of all of that. I think adding him to the lineup is really going to allow them to kind of slot those 1 through 4 lines and just everybody get their identity. The third and fourth line, go out there, be solid defensively, get under guys' skin, hammer guys, create some scoring chances when you can, but really just be solid and spend time in the other end when you're out there. You don't have to go score because guess what? Who is going to score? every time. It seems like the top guys. So load them up. You don't have to spread them out and try to get 4 lines who can maybe score. Get 1 line that for sure is going to score, 2 that's probably going to score, and then 3 and 4 just don't get scored on.
Yeah.
It's just about wins. That's all you need. You just need 4 wins and keep going.
John Cooper said it last night. He's like, it doesn't matter if you lose 6-2, 6-5, or 1-0 in overtime this time of year. A loss is a loss. Also, former teammate didn't get along with Evander Kane. I'm stunned. We've never heard that before from anyone. But
that was the most diplomatic way to say that.
Appreciate your time. Ask Dubnyk premiering in about 90 minutes right here.
You know what, Devan? I'm just going to do this. And it's Ask Doobie.
Ask Doobie.
Ask Doobie.
Put some
Hashtag
respect.
Ask Doobie.
Hashtag
Get in your head.
All right. 90 minutes till that premieres. You're also going to be on pre and post game tonight, so you're all over the place. Ask Doobie. There's the nice little graphic. Appreciate your time. Look forward to the first episode in a little bit, and we'll chat with you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
There you go. There's Devan Dubnyk.
There he is, and there he goes.
Devan Dubnyk was also brought to you by our new friends over at Litco Law. Shout out to Litco Law. Come on. There it is. Do you think you might need a personal injury lawyer, but you're not sure and you don't know where to start? Litco Law has been helping injured Edmontonians for over 50 years. They pride themselves on being lawyers you love. Don't take my word for it. Go to litcolaw.com and find out for yourself. Every consult is free. So what do you have to lose? Go to litcolaw.com. We are going to have Bruce Curlock on in about 20 minutes. But Jay, before we let you go, we should probably do the Bet365 Game Day Betting Challenge, gentlemen. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365, also an official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. From game props, player props, totals, and money line to futures bets like series winner, conference champions, and of course, the Stanley Cup champion and much, much more. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Oilers are dogs again.
Woof, woof.
Second time this series. Edmonton's coming in as moneyline underdogs. Liam, there's one thing I'm very happy I did yesterday. We talked about on Oilers Nation Radio. I parlayed Oilers moneyline over 5.5 when the total was still at 5.5.
Oh, did it move?
Yeah, I moved up to
Rats.
6. And I also took Kane's on the puck line yesterday as a way to juice it up for today. And I love when you can do that. Bet on something earlier, parlay it with the Oilers, because then it just feels like you have a super nice Oilers money line and over ticket for tonight. So I think we're going over tonight. I think obviously the public's backing that because the number has moved all the way up to 6. But the Oilers plus 105, that line's also shifting a bit today. I'm not surprised that people are backing the Oilers. I think an Edmonton bounce back tonight is the most likely outcome.
I mean, man, we saw it. We saw it, and it's unfortunate we have to wait like 2 days to have them pick up the ball and run with it again. But it's about W's.
That's all that matters.
It's all about W's.
No Evander Kane odds up quite yet on
Is
Bet365.
Frederick up to score?
650.
Is he up for? I don't think they'll have him as a point option on a same game, right?
Probably not, no.
Like closer to puck drop, they usually get those ones in.
Yeah, you usually get a few
Yeah,
more.
I feel like he's going to have a bounce back game.
Corey Perry plus 350.
Corey Perry to score is...
You like that?
Oh, yeah, big time.
I think I might dabble in that too.
Big time.
I might take a little bit of a piece of that. And if his point prop goes up, again, if he's going to get every ozone draw with McDavid and Draisaitl, which is what I'm thinking will happen. I just also burped really weird there.
160 for a point.
Oh, I like 160 for a point too.
Yeah, that seems automatic.
Yeah. All right, let's do our game day betting challenge. The only one who won the other day was Liam.
It was me.
Yeah, but you know what? Shame on you. That's like a loss.
Because I won?
No, because you didn't bet on the Oilers to win.
I never bet on the Oilers to win.
We should have had a rule that in order to manifest, every pick has to come with Oilers
it has to be
money
money line plus.
You can't be sitting
Maybe
here.
That's what we got to do. It's money line plus.
Yeah, you can't be sitting here bragging about wins when the Oilers lost.
Yeah, when you're making bets that are against them.
Doesn't feel good when two people gang up on you, hey?
I bet that Draisaitl would score. It cannot happen to me on St. George's Day.
Well,
this is unbelievable. I gotta win.
You're not even using. You asked for a win for St. George's Day, and I guarantee your bet has nothing to do with a win.
It 100% is to do with, and I bet on Oilers
to
stuff. Win. No, just
see.
One. That's fine.
Man,
I don't know.
Let's see what everybody's got tonight. Pat, who's up first?
Well, I'll pull yours in here in a second, but I mean, you know yours, right?
Yeah, I know mine. I'm going over 5.5. Knocked it down back to 5.5 for the same gamer. I'm going money line. I'm going Connor McDavid 2 points. It is plus 350. That is the easiest way to make money on this hockey game. Lots of goals, lots of Connor McDavid. Oilers dub.
I think it's going to be an under.
Really? So you're going.
I do. I feel like they're going to really tighten it up because they're going to see all the obvious mistakes and easily correctable mistakes that they made. And I feel it's going to tighten it up. But I do think we're going to hang 3 or 4 on LA.
Can I give you a little bonus one that I really like?
Sure.
If you're following that line of thinking, and maybe this will be my hedge away from the over. Last game, despite giving up 6, Stuart Skinner still stopped 24 shots. His line today for saves is 23.5.
Well, my strategy on saves.
Got to be 21.
21.
23.5 is not bad.
No, it is good.
Anyways, there's my pick for tonight. Jay, you are really...
I'm just all business. I got my briefcase. I got my suit on. Going to work.
Money line plus 105.
Money line plus 105. If they want to give it to me plus, I am going to take it.
I
wanted to go puck line, but then I'm like, oh, man, this could be like a statement game. So that there's the statement of putting up a lot, but there's a statement of not giving up much. This could also be a 2-1 game. So I don't want to lose in a 2-1 game. I want to celebrate the hell out of a 2-1 game.
So you wouldn't even put McDavid 2+ onto that. McDavid 2+ is plus money tonight, by the way.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yep. So just
Simple.
it's about a team win.
All right.
I am going to dabble on the outside always, but my bet for the people.
Liam.
I did McDavid 2 points plus 128 is what I got it at.
So no win, just McDavid 2 points.
Yep.
Doesn't care if we win or not, eh, Tyler?
No, I'm here for the dubs. I'll be there.
Who do you want to win?
The Oilers.
Do you?
Yes. This is
because
a separate thing.
Connor's proven he can get 4 points and lose.
It's proven he can get 4 points and win as well.
Well, if he gets 4 points tonight, we better win.
Maybe a ladder.
McDavid 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Oh, how juicy does it get for 4? 4 is 10-1. It's back-to-back 4-point games. Like again, yes.
Don't rule it out. What did I say?
375.
Connor's going to get 14 points in this round. He's already well on his way.
He is well on his way. First off, I went heavy on McDavid to lead this series in points.
Yeah.
And then I put in a nice McDavid McKinnon both to lead their series in points parlay. I'm getting some interesting cash outs, but I'm riding. I'm believing in Connor McDavid.
What was the Oilers to win the series again?
So if you want to take a look at the live future,
what is it now? I might.
What do you think it is? Because we played this yesterday on ONR, and Dan was the only one.
Plus 120.
Oh, you're still not even there. To win series, the Edmonton Oilers are plus 175.
Oh, okay. That's getting worth it.
Series spread, I had the Oilers to win in 6 or sooner. No, not you, Siri. Plus 350 to win in 6 or sooner.
I mean, you get the split on the road, and 6 is possible, and we're going to get the split on the road.
Yeah, so what I would say, just from like a betting perspective, is like, okay, if you put $100 on the Oilers to win the series at plus 175, it would obviously be a $175 profit out of that. They don't need to win tonight. I'm not calling tonight a must win, by the way. But like if you just put 100 on the money line tonight, boom, then it's probably even money. After this one, then you could just roll that 200 onto a series bet, which you'd be getting at even money or close to it, and then you'd have 400. So it'd be a bit more money.
I think the Oilers would become the favorites if they won.
If they win tonight, it'll
to win a game on the road.
I don't think it would flip that. I think it would go.
Moving to home,
I think it'd go pick them.
But he just went so hard
It might go to
this
Pick'em.
way.
But Pickham's minus 110.
Yeah, it'd be close. I guess. It'd be interesting to see, something to track, situation to monitor. All right. Let's get to some game notes for tonight. Liam, I tasked you with taking a look at them. They are brought to you by RV Easy, your motorhome, your travel trailer. It isn't just for getaways. It's a moneymaker on wheels. Most RVs sit parked in the driveway, but with RV Easy, you can rent out your motorhome or travel trailer and earn over $20,000 this year. Founded, owned, and operated by Canadians, RV Easy takes care of everything, including full insurance coverage provided for every rental. And best of all, you choose when to rent and you set your own prices. List your RV for free today at rveasy.com. That's rveasy.com. Rent your RV, make money, easy.
I have used it.
Really?
And I love it.
Oh, cool.
Because I really want a motorhome.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready. I'm not in my stage of life to have a motorhome because you need to use it all the time.
Yeah. Don't have time for that.
So now there's people that make theirs available. So I rent them.
It is a win-win kind of service.
It honestly is. And you can, and also I don't know. I'm torn if I want to be a trailer guy or a motorhome guy. So I
Motorhomes
can
are.
keep testing. I'm right now. I'm in the motorhome side.
You want to be sitting in the captain's chair. And
I've done a few amazing motorhome trips. I did a crazy awesome one in Iceland. I did one up to the Yukon, and both were in motorhomes. And the fact you just have a house on wheels at any given moment, and you can activate it right away because you're in it, as opposed to a trailer. You got to kind of set it up a little bit. Like that flexibility, it makes the world is your dining room. Like my greatest memories of motorhoming is you can just stop. Like, this is an amazing view or zone. I'm going to stop here and make lunch. And it's like, bang.
There's Jay's ringing endorsement for our friends at RV
Yeah.
Easy. Liam, what do you got for our game notes today?
I only have a couple because obviously still in the same series. But in game 2s in the Connor McDavid and Draisaitl era, the Oilers are 7-1-2. That makes you feel pretty good about things. In the games that they...
So 2 OT losses?
Yeah, in the games that they lost, Colorado being one of them in the Western Conference Final, so they were down 2-0. And then the other one they lost in the McDavid era was the Winnipeg one. They got swept in that one. And last season when LA won in overtime.
After Edmonton won game 1.
After Edmonton won game 1.
So the scenarios in which they lost game 1 and then also lost game 2 would basically only be Stanley Cup Final, Colorado, and Winnipeg. Every other scenario, they would have bounced back and won.
Hey, you're missing Florida.
No, but that wasn't game...
They lost game 1 and lost game 2.
Sorry. My bad.
That's all good. That's why I covered for you.
Thanks.
It's good teammates.
That's big.
8, yeah. So you had the stats on
So
game
I actually
2s.
got it a bit
How
wrong.
are the Oilers on, what's their St. George's Day record?
We did
we
that
actually
research.
looked it up.
We looked it up.
It's very important. Also, happy birthday, Wanye.
Happy birthday, Wanya.
Wanya. Happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy birthday to my brother-in-law, Kelly, as well.
I need to talk to him. No, about scheduling.
Oh. Because
I'm going to air this out on the show at some point. I want the chat's thoughts.
There was a certain 5'7" individual who had a handful of beers and ryes the other day who was coming up to me saying, "You have no idea how bad Jay wants you to let him out of the bachelor party."
I've never. You know what's funny? The only time I've talked to Chalmers about the bachelor party was on real life.
He told me
that's all he knows.
He goes, he's texted me and told me that he wants out of it so bad.
You can look through my phone.
I kind of want to do that anyways. But anyways, happy birthday to Kelly and Wanye. Not the same
Record on
person.
St. George's Day.
Yeah. That's
Not
rare.
good.
What a terrible day.
They've only played 5 times in their history on St. George's Day.
Yeah,
The first being 1984 when they lost 6-1 to the New York Islanders. The second being 1985, of course, when they lost to the Chicago... Oh, sorry, they beat the Chicago Blackhawks 8-6. Then they lost in 92 to LA 8-5. A lot of goals in these games. Then they beat Dallas 3-1. And then that was 97. 2023, they lost in overtime to the LA Kings 5-4.
What a brutal day. So I guess they right the ship today. How do you fix this, Liam? That's why you didn't pick a win today.
Well, St. George was a King Slayer and a Dragon Slayer.
Well, we have
Because he was a knight himself, right?
He was a knight, yes. Yeah. So just wear your red and white, folks, and we'll win. We'll be fine.
History would dictate you're wrong.
Well, I specifically remember not wearing red and white when they lost to the Kings 5-4 in 2023, which was game 4, by the way. Anyway, the other game note I have for you, Stuart Skinner's record after a loss in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
All right.
He has won 6, lost 4. Not bad. He has a 900 save percentage.
He's been pulled once, though.
I didn't want to throw that out there.
I think it's important
Well,
context.
the Oilers
We're
won
being
that
too
game.
critical. We got to drink the Kool-Aid.
The Oilers won that game. I'm just saying, Skinner also has a thing in the regular season too, where he's typically really good at bouncing back after a loss. So, must believe.
All right.
Well, I think he's chilled out. I think he was nervous, felt the pressure of going back into the playoffs. A lot of Game 7 thoughts and demons he brought into last night, and pressure to try to get the team to the promised land yet again. And third period, he chilled out. So if we got chill Stu And also, did we talk about did we connect this?
So Dano
Connect this
shaved
thing?
into a mustache. So people were saying it was just them doing that for Phil Dano, who is the player of the game.
Oh, okay, then that makes sense.
But also,
Let's make it about Stu.
yeah, I think
I think we should.
bulletin board material is good. I like having something to grab onto. Also, like I know the Oilers do their photo with like just the two players of the game. The LA Kings doing we talked about this yesterday, so I don't need to rehash the whole thing. But like the Kings doing a full team photo after they win one game against the Oilers is
weird.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They acted like they won the Stanley Cup yesterday.
It shows a little bit of overconfidence. Drew Doughty's post-game interview, full of overconfidence.
Oh yeah.
Why? What did he say?
Oh,
I just saw his
he
comment
essentially
being
said
like-
the way we're playing the first two games, like if our first two periods we played that, like there's no stopping us.
Oh.
Effectively, I'm paraphrasing and maybe elevating, but he's like, if we play within the first two periods, we have nothing to worry about. I think is actually what he said.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully buy that.
No, but I'm just saying that's what he said. And he also dropped
Doughty.
he also said shitty on it.
He did say that on there.
Drew, get an FCC fine for that.
So do you think the Kings show up on St. George Day, or they get slayed?
Well, let me find out
They usually get slayed. He's a knight.
But they slay. Okay.
Kings record on April 23rd. This might take a minute.
Yeah, that's fine. Got all the time in the world.
I know they've won one game.
You're really good at doing research.
Oh, wait a minute.
Not good.
They're 4-4.
Okay, so same as the Oilers. It's a coin
So
flip.
yeah, they're 4-4.
And-
They've.
It's a rubber match tonight.
It is the rubber match.
All right.
Yeah, 4-4, whatever. The Oilers
Okay.
have. Yeah, they've played the Oilers twice on St. George's Day.
Those are your game notes, not just brought to you by RV Easy, but also brought to you by Garage Superstore. Garage upgrades and accessories made easy. They have everything you need to organize, transform, and maximize your space. Also, if you head to their showroom, which is on Calgary Trail in South Edmonton, they have 6 full-size garages so you can walk through real setups. Vehicle hoists, storage racks, they got Traeger grills, everything for outdoor living to elevate your backyard experience. More than just garages at Garage Superstore. Find out more at garagesuperstore.ca. We're going to be joined by Bruce Curlock in a little bit. I'm assuming you have to run at 1 o'clock.
I do.
Yeah, so we're going to be joined by Bruce in a bit, but before we let you go and wrap up, Jay, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other series that are going on around the NHL. It is the menu, and it is brought to you by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Damn.
It is a 4-in-1, or is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tempware glass containers. The Crispy Power Pod gets you the full power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand. The 4-quart container can fit up to 6 pounds of chicken or veggies. You can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max Crisp, bake, air fry, re-crisp, do it all with the Ninja Crispy. From prepping to cooking to storing anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals, visit their website with the link in our description or stay tuned for a chance to win a Ninja Crispy for one of the people watching along in the YouTube chat.
And such an ideal device for playoffs.
It really is. Wherever your playoff party is, you can pull up with a Ninja Crispy Power Pod. Tonight, Washington looking to go up 2-0 on the Montreal Canadiens. I was stunned. It was 2-0 Washington. Ovi looked great. 2-0 Washington. We were wrapping up here and then driving up to Greta. We get to Greta and it's like, oh, the Habs tied it up. And it was like, holy crap. I did not see that coming. But it was Ovi in overtime. First career playoff overtime winner the other night for Alex Ovechkin. Wow.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? He's never scored a playoff OT winner before.
Actually, I do remember us talking about that briefly the other week.
What a
Draisaitl also doesn't have one.
Yes, he does not have a playoff OT winner under his belt. Also, Anthony Beauvillier became the first player to ever assist on a playoff goal for both Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby.
Who's that, sorry? Beauvillier?
Anthony Beauvillier. He was playing on the top line the other night. Tonight, I feel like I think Montreal delivered their best punch in game one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 4-1 Washington win tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised either.
Well, Caps have some injuries, but they still got a lot of firepower.
Who's out?
Protoss.
Oh, yeah, he didn't
Who's like a
play,
big,
which
been
is,
a
it's a big
kind
one.
of big factor for, well, literally, like figuratively and literally,
Yeah, both.
factor for them.
Big boy.
But yeah, like I feel like the Canadians they got nothing to lose, you know. Like getting into the playoffs was like the big win. So
Yeah.
they're a wild card. I could see them shocking Washington.
I will say, like, my line of thinking for that one is also the same line of thinking I applied to the Vegas-Minnesota series. I was like, damn, Minnesota gave them their best punch in game one.
They did not.
And no, Minnesota they had something more in the tank.
Healthy. They're healthy.
They rolled
Playoff Boldy. He's got 3 goals already.
Did you see Marcus Foligno's stat line?
No.
He had 12 hits.
Oh, wow.
How do you even?
The moose is loose.
He played like 13 minutes. I was like, how do you even hit someone
And then
12
that
times?
Kaprizov saucer pass is one of the sickest things I have ever seen in the history of the game of hockey.
Also, speaking of the menu, tonight Landeskog returns for the Colorado Avalanche.
Avs puck line.
I'm on the Avs puck line. Avs puck line, Oilers puck line. That'll feed families tonight.
Yeah, maybe that's I might do that as a parlay.
Yeah, you might need to. You might need to dabble.
Avs are going to be a problem. Avs are going to be a problem. And now that Gabe's back, like he's the heartbeat of that team.
Mm-hmm. They even asked Matt Duchene, who's on the Dallas Stars, about it, and Matt Duchene was like, "It's awesome."
Did he say that?
We're screwed.
Matt Duchene might be more fired up than other guys on the Avs. Anyways, 3 games tonight, and of course, we will be at Greta for our watch party. And if you come to Greta, not only are you going to be able to take advantage of $5.50 Buds and Bud Lights, $20 pitchers, half-price wings, a great vibe with our boy Aaron hosting things pre- and post-game live from the bar, there is also a chance that you could win your way in to another game.
Whoa.
A game day experience?
You could win a game day experience, and maybe that game day experience comes on Sunday downtown.
A Sunday game day experience? Woo!
You connect those dots that I'm dancing around.
I just thought those are legitimate dots. There's nothing to connect.
There you go. Shout out to our friends at Greta. Watch party, live shows, giveaways, trivia. The trivia last game was excellent as well. All presented by Fountain Tire. Greta Arcade Bar Street Food. Can't wait to be out there once again tonight and have our whole crew present. Jay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy St. George's Day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Hopefully the regicide happens tonight. Let's go, Will.
All right,
I'm going to go home.
Thanks,
watch
Jay.
James Bond.
Which one? Very important question.
Probably.
What is your favorite one?
Oh, my favorite one is Skyfall.
Wow, Skyfall.
But Casino Royale is also epic.
Casino Royale, well, it's Casino Royale because it just set the tone of the Daniel Craig area, and it. But you don't like any of the oldies.
I never really got into them. I think Daniel Craig is just so good that I watched his first and then watched a couple of the other ones.
See, I was a Sean Connery guy, and I thought I would never be able to be swayed.
And then Daniel came
And then
along.
Daniel Craig came on, and
I don't know what they're gonna do next.
They can't fill his shoes.
No,
They can't.
They can't.
They need a time machine.
Although I do think Idris Elba would be a good one.
I could subscribe, but I think he's gone.
He's gone.
He's too old.
Oh yeah, but Tom Holland's too young.
It can't be Tom Holland.
And he
Also
can't be
too
Henry
small.
Cavill because they did that other movie.
And he
with
was
him.
Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That was it. Yeah.
He's kind of got the panache to be it. If
Yeah.
it was him, I could live with it.
But he made his bed already.
I know. The fact that Superman can't be James Bond.
No, it's just not.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
just
not
doesn't
right.
work.
So I don't even know who's out there. There was rumblings once upon a time that like a Tom Middleston or Middle.
Oh yeah, and
Loki.
he doesn't seem like the.
Have you ever seen the show The Night Manager?
No, I haven't.
Watch it
The Night
and then
Manager.
see if you could see him as a James Bond.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Where can I watch it?
I have no idea. It was a few years ago that I watched it because someone told me like,
Okay, I'll find
watch
it.
this because he could be a James
Oh,
Bond.
with House.
Yeah, with Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie.
Sir
good.
Hugh Laurie.
Is he a sir?
I have no idea.
You do
What
know
is
we're
your thing?
keeping Bruce Curlock waiting for this whole
Well,
thing,
that's
right?
Bruce. What he
But
thinks.
Bruce probably loves James Bond.
I thought you had to leave it one.
Well, I always got time for a James Bond debate. It's one of the things. I'm wearing a James Bond watch, for God's sakes.
Fancy. Flex.
There you go.
Anyways, okay.
Man
Okay,
of
see you, Jay.
class.
Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company, one of Edmonton's largest locally owned and operated businesses. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. As we welcome in Bruce Curlock, writes at Oilers Nation, dressed like James Bond. You're looking snazzy, Bruce.
Well, when you guys call, I got to dress up.
Do you have any sort of opinion on what they were just talking about?
Well, on James Bond?
Yeah.
Well, it's Sean Connery, and it's Dr. No or From Russia with Love or Goldfinger.
All right. Bruce can give you a good take on anything. I like
Well,
that.
I'm just glad we're talking about Englishmen on
St. George's Day. Yes, I know. All right, let's start by looking back at game one, Bruce. Excellent piece up at OilersNation.com. Would encourage everyone to go watch it with the video you have along with it. But we're being positive. What were the encouraging signs from the Oilers in game one?
Well, I hope the article wasn't negative because I didn't really think it was a negative game.
No.
I thought this was, I think it was you and I that were talking, and I said it elsewhere. I said, had the Oilers come back and won that game, I think this series would have been over in 5. I think you look at it, take the context of how this game 1 started. You had the Kings who were healthy, Kings who were playing their lineup for a couple of weeks at least. Edmondson maybe in and out, but versus the Oilers who traded for a guy who never really played. We have Evander Kane maybe coming in, not coming in, injuries all over the lineup, and then you lose somebody like Matthias Ekholm, and you're on the road. I am not a gambler, but that's a game that you probably would look at the Kings and take the money there. The fact that it ended up where it ended up, I think should be an uncomfortable thought for the Kings. I thought basically that game was kind of 2 segments. One was the Oilers team getting to know each other again. You can think about that Bouchard, or that goal where Bouchard made the back pass to McDavid out front, and it, misconnected and went in the back of the net. McDavid was going to the corner, Bouchard was reading it the other way. That's just a timing thing from guys who hadn't played together in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And I very much. And I just think you saw that, and then you saw a team that started to figure it out. Yes, we'll have to talk about the nuclear option, I guess. But even those other 3 lines, I thought they had sizable impacts in the game in the third period. And I really didn't, caveat the first, call it 10 minutes, I thought they were really good 5-on-5. PK, okay, 2 goals against, but 1 on a 5-on-3, shut down another 5-on-3. The guy that probably is decently responsible for the first power play goal against, not in the lineup tonight. I don't know. I left that game thinking there's more ceiling for the Oilers than the Kings.
Yeah, I really did too. I felt like I didn't learn anything really that new about the Oilers, but the Kings, you're allowed 5 goals at home in game 1 against a goaltender that was supposedly the Oilers weren't going to be able to be. But you mentioned the power play obviously wasn't great. What did you see there? Do you think it was just timing for them that was just off?
You mean the Oilers power play?
Yes, the Oilers power play.
I think some of it is timing for sure. You can see the interchange between McDavid and Draisaitl wasn't there. In essence, you basically had 2 separate power plays the last, call it, month of the season. One where Draisaitl was running it and one where McDavid was running it, and neither of them were on the ice at the same time. That's a big difference. Now you have to figure out, they run the puck through one or either of these players, and those 2 kind of figure it out as they go. And when one of them is out, the other one just naturally takes it, right? So I think that's just a little bit of getting used to playing together with each other again. Hyman is probably the other part to this that I would point to. The coaching staff clearly thinks there's something there too, because Perry is seeing a little bit more time there. And, I'm not... Could it be injury related? Something. It just, they're not quite the same forecheck or loose puck regathering from Hyman that you've seen in the past, and so Perry's. So there's a little bit of that there, but I think mostly it's just not having those 5 guys together.
I was pretty surprised at the sort of general reaction from a lot of people about Jeff Skinner coming out of the lineup, because I looked at game 1 and went, well, you're not going to take... I wouldn't take out Janmark after what he did in game 1. He scored. I thought he was decent. Maybe Connor Brown or Vasily Podkolzin. I feel like taking out Jeff Skinner is a totally justified move by Chris Knobloch. Do you agree or disagree with me?
Well, the article I wrote, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Skinner or Victor Arvidsson came out of the lineup. And quite frankly, if Evander Kane was a right shot, I wouldn't be as surprised that Victor Arvidsson would have come out of the game or out of the lineup tonight. The problem with Jeff Skinner, who I really quite like as a player, is he either has to play so far up the lineup or he can't play at all. And if he plays so far up the lineup, he's going to get competition that pushes him on some spots where he's not as effective, or at least it's discomforting to the coaching staff. And a lot of that is wall play in his own zone. And that happened a couple of times last night again, where, you know, they ended up playing a little bit more in their zone because Skinner had a hard time getting the puck out. I don't think he's bad at it by any stretch of the imagination, but you're just asking him to move up the lineup against a, you know, in this case, a really good team in their top six. And, you know, it's just the margins, and I wrote this today, the margin for error in playoff games, especially against the LA Kings, is very small. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. He didn't just made a couple of plays that if you're picking somebody, it's easy to pick on him.
What do you think John Klingberg is going to bring to the lineup tonight? I mean, I don't love that the Oilers are down to the 8th and 9th defenseman in the series already.
Fun debate.
Yeah, great debate.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple things here. I think what we should do is probably start with what the Kings are as a team, right? You know, I wrote somewhere, it might have been on the X, but that I felt Josh Brown was in the lineup because Paul Coffey thought the LA Kings were the LA Kings of yesterday, not today. This is not a high intensity, grinded out, ground and pound type forechecking. This is a team that trades chances. This is a team that's wildly erratic in the neutral zone, good and bad. And they want to go up and down the ice, and they'll do it from any zone on any transition puck. And so, you know, that's not Brown. You can say a lot of things about Josh Brown, but just that part of his game isn't there. So the physicality piece isn't there. So that means there's going to be less work down low in their own zone. So, you know, someone like a Klingberg or a Cam Dineen, quite frankly, would be, or, you know, shouldn't be pressed on that. The concern I would have with Klingberg is they're almost assuredly going to attack that side of the ice with him in transition. And I just don't love his ability to transition skate. And, you know, I think it's a weak spot. Will he be able to outlet the puck better? Yes. Will he be able to give blows to guys who are playing both the PK and the PP and 5-on-5? Yes. Could he get exposed? Yeah, I think he could, but it'll be off the rush for sure.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about something you wrote about the 2-3 offense, and I'll read a piece of your article here. You said this type of offense is available to the Oilers against the Kings at will. Edmonton didn't start doing it until the middle of the game, but when they made it a part of their regular play, it yielded dividends. And then you talked about the Oilers' first goal where McDavid just works around Kopitar and finds Draisaitl. Can you explain the 2-3 offense, because I am dumb and don't understand it, and explain why it allows the Oilers to be so successful in this matchup?
Yeah. So the 2-3 offense is really, it's just a simple play in which when you're set up inside the zone, you bring a forward with or without the puck, but mostly with the puck, back up top. And so that you have three players all above the defenders, basically facing skates down towards the net. And one of two things happens with that. Is you influence the defense into moving towards the top of the zone, and you can create seams and gaps in the middle of it, or you can create seams and gaps in behind it. So that's the one thing that can happen. The second thing is now you have a third guy, and it's likely a pretty high skill guy, who has his toes faced towards the net and likely with the puck, and has an ability to attack downhill. And so with speed against guys who are either stationary or backing up. And so, you know, it creates some advantages. Why it's so available for the Oilers in this series is the Kings are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team in their own zone. They kind of play a loose box, but they kind of swarm down low, to be honest with you. Like they will send all five guys into the corner, or four guys and one kind of hanging out net front. And then when it comes up top, sometimes you'll see their player come up with them, sometimes you see or not, but there's no continuity to it. And so what had happened in that game last night was it created these east-west seams in the middle of the ice. Think about kind of the hash marks, top of the circle down to the bottom of the hash marks, these huge gaps. And that allowed the Oilers to go east-west with the puck, which was the first goal when McDavid made that beautiful tight turn. And, Leon, basically it's almost like, he just bounces off his check into a little open spot and hits a jump shot like it's basketball play almost, right? Like you get the puck to him in the open, takes a shot, and it just creates enough space in there that, it becomes damaging to a defensive team when you're facing this offensive caliber. So the way you would avoid this is you would just simply compact your defensive zone into a box plus one, and you would not let those, high forwards stretch out too far and keep, it's kind of like an LA Kings style or a Vegas Knights King style or Vegas Knights defense style. That would get you past that. But the Kings don't play like that. And it's certainly available. The one other editorial comment I'll make on it, the other positive thing it does, it takes, or at least limits the number of wasted point shots that come from this Oilers defense. And some of that is their fault, but some of it is the forwards' fault for not working into better options. And I talked about that in the article where Jeff Skinner just basically stood in the middle of the ice when all he had to do was come up top. And all of a sudden it was, you had a perfect 2-3 and lots of room to attack. It doesn't happen. Darnell Nurse in particular gets impatient. They send the puck to the net. Those are very difficult pucks to recover.
Yeah, Dubnyk just talked about that with us, actually, about how those are that's as bad as a turnover in any other part of the zone, because you go from having the puck in a zone where you can score to now having a 50-50 face-off. And we've bitched about that so much, like getting to the net, getting traffic. And again, they scored 3 goals from right in front of Darcy Kemper. I will say it in the most simplest terms. You have to go to those areas to get those goals in those spots. You got one more for Bruce?
Yeah, let me just finish this before Liam. The other piece to this is, I picked on the Oiler defense here a little bit, but I think it needs to be said that Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard and Jake Wallman and Ty Emberson, Matthias Ekholm was the best at this. Those guys can activate off of that 2-3 offense, and that creates chaos, and these guys are good at it. That's the other part of this that I think is not, whether this is a Paul Coffey thing, a coaching thing, or a player risk reward thing, I don't know. But this team could be even more dynamic in the offensive zone if we saw more of that from the defense. Sorry.
All good, Bruce. What do you want to see from Trent Frederick tonight? Knobloch said he only got 2 shifts in the third period. That wasn't because he was hurt, it's because he just wasn't playing well enough. But he ironically got an assist in the third period. But what does he need to do to gain more minutes and trust from Knobloch, you think?
Really? He said he wasn't playing well? Gosh,
that's what he said.
Okay. My rerun of the third period was simply they were either on the power play or they were penalty killing or they were 6-on-5. And so you're like, there's not a lot of room out there for a guy who's only played 1.5 games with the Edmonton Oilers, basically. What do I need to see out of Trent Frederick? Very simple, north-south, get in on the forecheck. We haven't talked about the lines, but that third line with Henrique and Brown, I worry a little bit about Henrique having to match up against Byfield. But I think Frederick and Brown can create chaos because those are both F1 forecheckers for sure. And so just a really simple go up the ice, go down the ice, hit bodies, go to the net. He can make plays. He's got great hands in tight. Be a pain in the ass against this defense, which I think, we talk a lot about the Oilers' depth questions or whatever on defense. I don't see any better defensive depth on the Kings, quite frankly.
Couldn't agree more. I don't get it. Like, everyone's saying, like, you can't win a game with 4 defensemen. Jordan Spence played 6 minutes and Brent Clark barely got over 10. It's no different from what the Oilers did, essentially.
No, that's 100% right.
Look at you. Give me some. Yeah, good point, Liam.
There we go.
If you had to grade this this Chris Knobloch lineup here on the Bruce Curlock scale of like A+ being perfect, that's exactly what I would do. F being fire the coach in the middle of the playoffs. What grade are you giving Knobloch for this forward group?
The forward group, I think it's probably an A, right? It's a very deep forward group. That, so if you want to go through this tactically, I think he's basically just saying to the LA Kings, you can send anybody you want against our line one. You're not going to win that battle. I thought Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was actually quietly pretty good at center last game, which that was a concern for me against Quentin Byfield. That line of Hyman and Kane played a little bit together last year and was quite good. I think that's a heavy line on the forecheck too. Again, go after this Kings defense. We've talked about the Henrique line. And that fourth line, the fourth line might play 7-8 minutes in a game. This fourth line might play 10, 11, 12 minutes. And what I think you can do with that fourth line is you can put them out against anybody. Like, I just don't think the Kings have a line that you'd be concerned about with that group. So, and that's, you think about other teams that, have won Stanley Cups that the Oilers try to aspire to. Like, you think about the Vegas Golden Knights. They put out that fourth line. They don't care who they're playing. They just put them out. And I think that fourth line can do that. So I think it's an A, personally. I really like this lineup.
I love it. I'm nice and fired up for tonight now. 8:15, 8:20 puck drop between the Oilers and Kings. Bruce, appreciate you popping on. Always love your insight. You make our show better. So thank you. Enjoy the hockey game tonight.
Yeah, you guys too. Have a great day.
See you,
and
Bruce.
if he ever tries to one-up us like that in the dressing department, he's done. Never again. Hoodies and hats, Bruce. Jesus.
Tuxedo next.
All right, there you go.
See you,
Bruce Curlock for our friends at Star Mechanical. He's also brought to you by Tourism Jasper. This summer, find your happy place in Jasper. From hiking trails, paddling wild waters, or sharing laughs by the fire, happiness finds you here in Jasper. It's open, it's vibrant, and it's ready to welcome you back for some more unforgettable moments. So drive over, play outside, soak up the fresh air, enjoy some food and drink. Jasper Brewing Company, hello. Maybe even stay up late because your best summer memories aren't behind you. They're waiting for you this summer in Jasper. Plan your trip at jasper.ca/summer. Liam, game day for Sherwood Ford. You know what else that means? Keys to victory for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. It is warm outside. You are ready to go outdoors. You need to get your toys tuned up at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Boats, motorcycles, ATVs, they can do it all with their fantastic service department. Hockey fans helping hockey fans right in the heart of Sherwood Park. After listening to Bruce, your key to victory tonight.
My key to victory is special teams, special players. Forgot the next line. What is he saying?
Special moments?
Special something.
Special days?
Whatever it is. Special plays, maybe.
Okay.
The power play has to come through Theos, and I really do think that was the special teams in general was a big difference, but the Kings are obviously given a lot.
Let me just build on that. Stay out of the goddamn box.
Yeah. 2 of them, I guess, were
Shitty.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Unavoidable, I guess, by the refs.
Yep.
But that'd be my big key to victory. Do we have what's trending today? I'd have to talk to you about something.
I didn't. We can put it in if you want.
Do we have an ad we could throw on it?
Well, I wanted to give. I think my key to victory here is just going to be listen, Connor and Leon.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think Chris Knobloch's hiding it.
No,
Connor
and
and
he
Leon.
shouldn't. He shouldn't hide it.
Just be like, again, when we did our preview of this series, which again is vibes-based research, Bruce is like, he's like a sniper on the roof lining up his target. Boom, one bullet. You and I are like Yosemite Sam. We just fire bullets into the air and are like, let's go. Our research was that the Edmonton Oilers have 2 game-changing transcendent superstars. The LA Kings have 0. So lean on those 2 superstars tonight. Beat the hell out of the Kings with 97 and 29 on the ice, and you're going to be all good.
Agreed. I'm confident about tonight. The New Oilers have everything they need to win this game because they proved it by playing literally one good period last game. And this game's so close. To at least get into overtime, I guess. But it is what it is.
All right, what's trending, Liam? It's for Charm Diamond Centers today. Get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program. It all comes with an unbeatable pricing policy. Check out their large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds and mine diamonds by visiting them online at charmdiamondcenters.com. What did you want to talk about in what's trending? Because I got to...
So what's trending? I played in a multi-sports game last night.
Okay.
Called Chuck Ball.
Oh, Chuck Ball. I played that in... It was like a phys ed game we played in junior high and high school.
Pat, anyone ever played that one? No.
Yep.
Reese? No, just Ty. In the chat, let me know if you played it. Worst game I've ever played in my life. That game sucks. If you're in a multi-sports team, there was a gentleman in the chat who I played against last night.
Okay.
Came up to me and said, I'm not going to gloat right now. Just gloat in the chat tomorrow. Mid-game. Thought that was very funny. His name was Brock.
So it's where... So there's like basically a trampoline and
On
a crease
both ends.
on both ends.
It's like handball.
It's like handball, but you can only get a point by bouncing it off the trampoline.
Yeah.
You got to stay out of the crease.
Yeah.
And then one of your teammates has to catch the ball.
No. No one catches the ball.
Oh, it needs to hit the ground.
It needs to hit the ground or a wall or something. Just no one can catch it. It sucks.
I loved it in high school.
High school, it would be fine.
Yeah.
But like when you're an adult and you're like not as active as you used to be and you like need a sweat, you do not sweat. You cannot intercept the ball. You can't like block someone from doing something. It is basically you pass the ball around for 60 minutes and just try and hit this ball trampoline. Terrible game. Even the ref was like, this game isn't that good. And the vibes were good. Everyone had a good time. There was a couple of guys on the other team who were trying to do like alley-oops and do cool things like that, which was fun. But yeah, if that's on your multi-sports list this week, that might be the week you can take the day off.
Okay.
Call for a sub.
All right. That's what was trending.
Yeah.
Here's what's trending in my life. The Blue Jays stink again. I was so all the way in on them, and they can't hit a home run. It's the least amount of home runs they've ever hit through 24 games in franchise history.
Surely Vladdy's picked it up since his contract came.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Only
so
14
annoying.
more years.
So annoying. Okay, we did our keys to victory. We did all of our ads. I guess to close today's show, one more time, because it is our friends at Pepsi who are the presenting sponsor of today's show, as the puck drops for playoffs. Pepsi's making a bold statement. They're changing their iconic cola color to orange. Pepsi is igniting hockey spirit among Edmonton fans as the city turns orange with this exclusive limited edition cola. 2,025 bottles will be given out to fans throughout Edmonton during the 2025 playoffs. And to celebrate the launch, look at that bad boy. Pepsi is teaming up once again with Hall of Fame goaltender and former Oilers goaltender Grant Fuhr. If you're in Edmonton, visit Pepsi Canada on Instagram to find out where you can get your hands on the limited edition Oilers Pepsi and enjoy the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, we did get a chance to chat with Grant Fuhr last night. I know a few of you heard that interview last week. But we wanted to wrap up today's game day edition of the show by giving you another chance to listen to that. That'll bring you to about 1:40. And then 2 o'clock, Ask Doobie is live on the Oilers Nation YouTube, so tune in there as well. Pre-game, post-game tonight from Greta, our party spot in downtown Edmonton, where you could win a chance to be right there for Sunday night.
Right there.
I know, I need to be so careful. You can win a chance to be there on Sunday night. That's all I can say. You all know what Sunday night is. But pre- and post-game tonight with Bordsy and Doobie, that's going to be live at 7 o'clock on the YouTube as well. Everybody in the YouTube chat, which is brought to you by Odd Company Brewing and the all-new Nation Beer Everyday Lager, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. We missed one today. Shout out to our friends at Odd Company, 2 spots in Edmonton. Get a flat, get loaded up for the playoff run. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody in the YouTube who dropped in some great stuff today. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Enjoy our interview with Grant Fuhr. Oil up. Very exciting interview today on the show, and very excited to be partnering with our friends at Pepsi for this interview, as well as the Oilers gear up for the playoffs. Pepsi is making a bold statement. It's changing its iconic cola color to orange, and to celebrate the launch, Pepsi is teaming up with, once again, NHL Hall of Famer, former Edmonton Oiler, 5-time Stanley Cup champion Grant Fuhr, the pride of not just Spruce Grove, but all of Edmonton. Grant, excited to have you on again today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Doing great.
Fantastic. Playoffs are right around the corner. Always an exciting time in Edmonton. I want to kick this off by talking a little bit about your partnership with Pepsi. You first signed with Pepsi back in the last season the Oilers won the Stanley Cup. So I like that we're keeping the championship vibes going, or maybe bringing them back. Let's maybe start with that partnership. Talk to us about that first time you signed with Pepsi, and then maybe a little bit on how this year's partnership came about.
So for those that remember, I would have signed with Pepsi back in 1989. I was going to wear Pepsi pads in the All-Star game. But unfortunately, the league wasn't quite as forward thinking as Pepsi was. So we had to make a choice of either wear them and get suspended or not wear them. So we ended up not being able to wear them.
Wow. And then this year, I mean, Stanley Cup playoffs coming right around the corner. I feel like it lines up really well, but talk a little bit about this year's partnership and Pepsi turning the cola orange.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back with Pepsi again. It's such a good company. They're very forward thinking. And the fact that they reached out and were interested in partnering with me again is awesome. Brings back a lot of really good memories. And I'm excited going forward with Pepsi and obviously excited for the playoffs. I mean, that's still the best time of hockey.
Yeah, the playoffs, especially in Edmonton, are so much fun. Like, we obviously got to experience the run last year of going to the Cup final. But what is it about Edmonton that makes playoff time so special here to you?
I think it's the fans more than anything. I mean, the atmosphere in Edmonton is like no place else. I mean, that's the one thing. Once playoffs get going, everybody in Edmonton is a diehard Oilers fan. And well, you guys know, if you follow social media through the year and such, they can be fairly critical. But when it comes to playoffs, they are definitely 100% behind the Oilers.
Yeah, no kidding. We had Mark Messier on earlier this week, and we were talking about some of his playoff memories as a player. And I mean, there's a few guys on this year's team who are going to get to experience playoff hockey in Edmonton for the first time. But when you think back to that first playoff run you had with the Oilers, and funny enough, I think that was actually a series against the LA Kings as well, which ties in nicely to this year. But what do you remember about that first playoff game and experiencing that atmosphere for the first time?
You know what? My first playoff game didn't really go all that well. I think we lost 10-8. So probably not the start I was looking for. But you know what? To get a taste of the playoffs, there's nothing better than that in Edmonton. I think that's the biggest thing is the city just goes crazy. I mean, if you look at through the years, you look at the new building and you look at the atmosphere outside the building, not just in the building, but outside the building, the fans that support it. I think it's phenomenal. And it's something that everybody should experience.
Yeah, and like when you think back to playoffs this year, like you said, it's not just like being in the building, it's just the vibes are around the whole city, like everyone's so invested in it. But when you're sitting back sipping on a Pepsi, is there a certain moment you kind of reminisce on in your career being like, man, that was awesome, like what a cool moment that was? I would assume the 5 Stanley Cups would come up once in a while.
Yeah, it comes up once in a while, especially with some of the people I sit and watch the games with. And you know what? The greatest part about it is the city of Edmonton I grew up there. So I was born and raised. I was an Oiler fan when they were in the WHA, lucky enough to play right at home. So I have a little different feel than most people being right from Edmonton. So I love playoff time. I love playoff time in Edmonton. We tried to sneak up for a couple of games last year, but unfortunately for us, they scheduled our playoff games at the same nights that Edmonton played. So that was a bit of a bummer, but we did run an extra TV screen so that we could watch the games. So no, we're still a diehard.
I love that. Again, going back to your playing days, the team, it was so unique because there were a handful of guys on that team who were local Edmonton products. You, Mark Messier, Randy Gregg, a few like that. How much more pride did you take in putting on that Oilers sweater, knowing that you were playing for your hometown?
You know, everybody as a kid dreams of playing in the National Hockey League. And of course, we all dream about playing at home, but to actually be able to do it, I think that's the big thing is you get the chance, you get the opportunity. There's nothing better than that. I mean, one, you're playing in front of family, friends, that sort of thing. So when that happens, it just brings that extra special feeling to it because there's nothing better than winning with your family and your friends around.
Yeah, no kidding. I wanted to ask you one, just kind of talking a little bit about this year's team. And you brought up that your first playoff start didn't exactly go all that well. And, you know, you look at this year's team and Stuart Skinner, that's a guy who, you know, he's definitely battled some inconsistencies through his first couple of playoff runs with the team, even though they went as deep as they did last year. But just looking at a guy like Stuart Skinner, who is a local product like yourself, who's taking on the task of trying to lead this Oilers team to a Stanley Cup, just like you did. I guess, what do you think of his first couple of playoff runs? And maybe what advice would you give him heading into his now third playoff run with the Oilers?
Hey, there's growing pains in the playoffs. That's the biggest thing is the playoffs don't always run the way you want. I mean, my first year, we lost 10-8 in the first game, won 3-2, won 3-2, then blew a 5-0 lead in the third period to lose 6-5, and then lost 7-4. So you learn. I think that's the biggest thing you learn. And then you look at our group in 83, we got to the final, we lost in the final. The Oilers lost in the final last year, but we got swept in 83. People don't remember that. We got swept by the Islanders in 83. So you take something out of every playoff and you learn. And I think with Stewart, that's going to be the same thing. He's going to learn each series he's in. And as you learn, you get better and better. Yeah, your regular season might not be as consistent and as good as everybody else wants, because everybody wants to win every game. But guess what? You're not going to win 82 games. That's just the way it is. But come playoff time, you take it one game at a time. You don't look at the long term. You just try and finish one game. You win that game or you lose that game. You let it go afterwards, and you look at the next one.
Yeah, and I think with Skinner too, what people seem to forget is he's still a very young goalie. Well, this is, I think, his third full season in the NHL, and he's taken the Oilers on some good playoff runs too. There was a clip last year from the Oilers run from some of the behind the scenes footage of McDavid kind of. We saw a side of him we hadn't ever seen before, and showing a lot of passion, telling the team to dig in. Was there ever a moment when you were in those runs with obviously those great Oilers team that's maybe Wayne or Mess kind of stepped up and like changed their vibe and was like something similar to that?
Well, we had a pretty serious vibe. I mean, anytime you've got Mess, it's a serious vibe. So that was the great part about it, is we had great coaches that were good about motivating us. And within the room, you got Wayne as a leader, you got Mess as a leader. You look at some of the guys we had as leaders, and all of a sudden, you've got a good vibe. You just didn't want to be that weak link that caused the team to end up losing.
Yeah. Another thing too, like just kind of drawing the parallels to those teams in the 80s and maybe even this year's team. But you talked about losing in the Stanley Cup final, and then again, going on the next year, like the Oilers right now coming into the season, the regular season, I guess, means less, and I'll throw air quotes around that, but it means less than it did in the past, because this year's team is going to be judged on what they do in April. And I think we maybe even saw that a little bit in the regular season this year for the Oilers, where it's like, okay, maybe they took their eye off the ball a little bit because they're thinking like, just get us to the playoffs. Did you have any experiences like that, where that year after you first go to the Cup final, like, is it tougher to play in the regular season when you remember how close you were and you just want to get back to playoff hockey? And it's like, man, it's game 65. Who cares right now? Get me back to April.
Well, you know what? You care, but at the same time, as you care, it makes the regular season harder. I think that's the biggest thing, because you know what the end goal is and what you really want. And for you to get there, obviously you have to be successful in the regular season, but at the same time, the regular season doesn't have that same relevance. So once the playoffs start, it'll run the juices up. And yeah, people like to see you have a regular season that's really good. They worry about inconsistency. They worry about the team not being good enough, but playoffs are a different animal. And I think you'll see that from the Oilers. Once it gets started, they're going to be good.
Yeah, and I mean, another side of it too is the injuries, like we're seeing right now. So many Oilers have been going down over the last 3 weeks, and we always hear come playoff time that, you play hurt, right? I mean, at times we've seen guys like Leon Draisaitl do this. You even play injured, and I guess when you look at that too, like the Oilers are kind of limping to the end of the regular season here. But how much does that change come playoff time, where maybe that sore knee, that sore shoulder, whatever's bugging somebody, that goes away come playoffs, right?
Well, there's a difference between playing injured and playing hurt. You can play hurt. Injured is kind of hard to play. Yeah. But again, once playoffs start, you get adrenaline. The docs will make sure that things are functional. So you play. I mean, if the body part's not falling off come playoff time, you're going to play.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction for this first round? Round 4 of Edmonton, LA again, 4 years in a row. It seems like, hey, we all saying, it's been 7-6-5. Is this one a sweep? Probably not. But what do you think?
Oh, I think it's going to be another good series. I think it's going to probably be a 6 or 7 game series. I think it's going to be kind of nasty, because the two teams obviously don't like each other. We saw that the other night. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Did you, obviously you guys through your playoff runs, you would have ran into the same team a handful of times as you went on.
Like Calgary every year?
Yeah. Does it get more difficult being kind of, again, you guys were the top dog for all those series. Does it get more difficult the more you have to play a team like that?
Oh, definitely. Especially if you've had success against them. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at the series we had against Calgary, a lot of those battles went 7 games. You look at how hard the series were against Winnipeg. Yeah, a lot of them were sweeps, but every game was close. Every game was hard. So that's just the fun of the game.
Yeah, let me wrap up with this one here. As playoff celebrations get going all over the city, give me your best advice to hockey fans for how to survive what we hope is another long run for the Oilers.
Enjoy the ride. I mean, it's a lot like a roller coaster. There's going to be ups, there's downs, but enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun, and the Oilers, I think, are going to take a long run this year.
Grant, thanks for your time. Appreciate you popping on. Enjoy a nice cold Pepsi during the playoff run for us.
Oh, I definitely will. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Grant.